Okay, that was an old clip of Senegalese protesters chanting in Wolof. Man digna Wolof de, tuti rek tuti lai digel. The message was simple. A vote for Bassirou Diomaye Faye was a vote for Ousmane Sonko. Two men, one movement, one dream. Now, for decades before that, one of the most famous revolutionary chants in modern history was the Chilean El pueblo unido jamás será vencido, which means a people united will never be defeated. Then Senegal answered with its own revolutionary anthem, Diomaye mooy Sonko, which means Diomaye is Sonko. But today, the revolutionary brothers who promised to transform Senegal are drifting toward political war. So what exactly happened? Was it betrayal, as many claim, or was it the brutal reality of power? The simple oldest law of power that one throne cannot hold two crowns. Now, to understand why, you have to go back to the very beginning. The very beginning. Ousmane Sonko first rose to prominence as a tax inspector turned activist. He accused Senegal's political elite of corruption. He attacked French influence in West Africa. He criticized the franc CFA. He condemned IMF dependency and positioned himself as the voice of angry young Senegalese. He founded a political party called PASTEF, a nationalist Pan-African anti-establishment movement that terrified the old political class. As Sonko's popularity exploded, so did the crackdown. Under President Macky Sall, Sonko was repeatedly arrested, dragged into legal battles. And eventually convicted in a controversial case many supporters viewed as politically motivated. Violent protests erupted. People were unalived. And in prison, Sonko sat beside one loyal man, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, Sonko's protege, his plan B. So when Sonko was barred from contesting the presidency, he made a dramatic move. He introduced Diomaye Faye as his replacement, and hence the chant was born. Diomaye mooy Sonko. Diomaye is Sonko. Now I need you to pay attention. Subtly between the lines of that chant, the idea was clear. A vote for Faye is a vote for Sonko. Did you get that? So Faye was not supposed to become his own political force. He was supposed to continue the project because Sonko remained the movement's ideological center, even outside the ballot. Then came the shock. They won in a landslide. And for the first time, Senegal looked ready for a radical political shift. But revolutions often survive opposition better than they survive victory. If not, how would you explain people like Jonas Savimbi, Museveni, Samuel Doe, Isaias Afwerki, and others? Sonko still saw himself as the rightful leader of the project, the revolutionary, the architect, the boss. But power changes people. Faye outgrew the role of placeholder. He refused to remain a puppet president, a front man. So he acted to become his own president, a president of his own. The crack widened over ideology and power. Sonko wanted French military influence in Senegal reduced.
We cannot accept the presence of foreign military bases in Senegal. We have notified them to request that they withdraw all their troops from Senegal.
An IMF agreement to be challenged, especially after the revelations surrounding Senegal's hidden multi-billion-dollar debt crisis, the one Macky Sall didn't declare. But Faye faced governing reality, a fragile economy, investor anxiety, international pressure. So instead of a total confrontation with the West, Faye welcomed European Union commissioners to Dakar for talks on security, migration, and economic cooperation. In fact, the revolutionary movement was beginning to split between ideology and pragmatism. Then the Cold Political War began. Allies close to Sonko were gradually removed. Faye strengthened his own circle, including appointing trusted loyalists into strategic positions. Now, ironically, a law proposed by the passive-controlled parliament was reluctantly signed by the president, Faye, a law that would allow Sonko to run for president come 2029. The very man who once was the movement now positioned to replace Faye. So Faye struck first. 6 days after he signed the law, he fired Sonko. The message was clear: I am the president. Then came the twist nobody expected. After tensions exploded publicly, Speaker of Parliament El Malik Ndiaye, a Sonko loyalist, resigned. The path was clear. On Tuesday, May 27, 2026, lawmakers voted and Sonko won 132 votes, 0 against. Now the man removed from executive power, he now controls one of the most powerful political institutions in Senegal. Sonko now controls parliament. He can now block laws. He can challenge budgets. He can paralyze the president. Now the revolutionary brothers had become institutional rivals. This is no longer just a friendship gone wrong. It is a struggle over the future of Senegal itself. So personally, I do not consider this as a case of betrayal, but politics. Two men who once shared a prison cell now share a broken government. Sonko believes he is the project. Faye, on the other hand, refuses to be a puppet, and Senegal watches, wondering who blinks first. Let me know your thoughts.